Good afternoon, members and friends. Thank you so much for joining ASPE Chapter 4 San Diego today with this CPE webinar. My name is Paul Chan, CPE, Pre-Construction Manager of Balfour Beatty Construction and the formal president for ASPE Chapter 4 San Diego. Today, we want to welcome our speaker, Dan Kilcoyne, CPE, Estimator for California Sheet Metal, Certifications Chair and Vice President for ASPE Chapter 4. He started his estimating career in 2009, having came from previous 20 plus years of working as a field foreman to take on the responsibilities of the California Sheet Metal Manufacturing Director of Estimating. He now serves California Sheet Metal primarily in estimating exterior facades. Dan has been a member of the American Society of Professional Estimators since 2016. He successfully completed the ASPE certified technical difficulties. Certified Professional Estimator Program in 2018. We also joined us briefly David Battle, who is our currently chair of the National Certification Committee, to talk about how ASPE CPE certification has helped him in his construction career and consulting business in the Oklahoma City region. Before I turn the webinar to Dan, I would like to go over some items. This year, ASPE is celebrating our 50th anniversary. Yes, 50 years in the construction industry. We will be providing more information on the event in our website, aspesd4.org. Please, I want to repeat again, aspesd4.org. This will take place in 2021. We also want to thank each of the past presidents and board of directors that helped this organization achieve success during these years. We'll be recording this event and posting it to our website. Please add your questions in the questions and answers below, and we will address them in the timely manner during the webinar. You can also send an email if you doesn't allow us with any questions, and we will respond promptly at ASPE chapter4@outlook.com. I have two poll questions for you. Number one, are you an ASPE member? Number two, are you waiting to pursue your CPE certification this year? Probably you can see your monitor and answer those questions. Let's see, yes. All right. With further ado, I will present Dan Kilcoyne.
Okay, well, thank you, Paul, and welcome all of you for joining us here today. As Paul mentioned, my name is Dan Kilcoyne, and in our time today, I will briefly outline the process of becoming a certified professional estimator. But first, though, please allow me to start with the core purpose of the ASPE. ASPE is the construction industry's leader and recognized authority in professional estimating through excellence in education, certification, and standardization. So having just read that, what would that mean to you, the individual estimator? I've been thinking of ways to express it. Allow me to express it this way. As a nonprofit organization, the ASPE seeks not to serve ourselves. Rather, we seek to serve you, the individual estimator, and to equip you in your pursuit of estimating excellence. We also serve the construction industry at large by promoting certification, ethics, and standards that benefit us all in the industry. So I don't believe I'm always overstating it at all to say that really the core purpose of ASPE is very estimator-centric. It is geared towards advancing estimating, but also advancing estimators. There's also a distinct set of core values that govern the activities of ASPE. The first core value, education. We offer many online classes, publications, and technical papers that cover the entire range of estimating abilities and fields. If you need estimating training, we're here. We have the resources at hand, and we're ready to help. Educational mentoring is also an important part of our efforts. Coming into the ASPE, I wasn't even sure what the word mentoring would mean in a day-to-day setting or in, involvement in an organization. For me, personally, I've really come to appreciate the knowledge that I've gained from my fellow society members, and that really is what mentoring is those that have been in the trade perhaps longer, have some more experience with estimating, they come alongside those that are coming up, and as time goes on, you gain their knowledge, you gain their skill, and it's really been a fantastic experience for me. The second core value, professionalism. So now, how many of you in the construction industry believe that it regularly falls short of expectations? Perhaps you have these things in mind if you agree with that. Bad plans that seem to get worse and worse from year to year. Specifications that conflict or at odds with other bid documents. Initial budgets that had no chance of funding the completed project. Impossible schedules. You might even have your own mental list of things where it seems like we can do better in the construction industry. The ASP would really like to help change these perceptions, starting with our own profession. To this end, ASP seeks to maintain the highest standards of excellence and credibility in estimating. We want the quality of estimates to improve year after year. We want the overall industry confidence in estimates to be high and increase with each passing year. The last core value is fellowship. And kind of like mentorship, I wasn't sure what that meant before I first came into the society, and I can offer this kind of candid admission. I'm not really known as a people person, and I'm not really even sure how I was convinced to do the presentation. I'm happy to do it, but I'm not usually the first person you choose. I have a tendency to keep to myself. So I kind of wanted to know also how would this benefit me to be involved with fellowship with other estimators. I can honestly say, it's hard to even put into words, but I can honestly say that I'm very thankful for the fellowship opportunities that I now have. Again, it's hard to put into some catchphrase. I'm not sure I need to, but there is something to be said for getting to know others that share your profession, and share your daily struggles, and share your successes as well. Then we're almost there, but before we jump into the CPE program, let's talk about a few opportunities for involvement within ASPE. There are monthly meetings. Here in our local San Diego chapter of ASPE, prior to the public health concerns, we had a meeting each month. And these meetings were open to all that wanted to attend, not just ASPE members. We're hopeful to resume these meetings in the not too distant future. But for now, we're working on offering online virtual meetings with much of the same content as before. industry speakers, in-house presentations, virtual site tours of notable construction projects. There's other content that we're considering and working that out. Another opportunity for involvement is membership. Membership gives you increased access to the training materials and helps facilitate the mentorship that we've already talked about. There's also discounts that apply to the certification program and also worthwhile goods and services within the industry. You can find a full list of these discounts on the ASPE National website. There's also the Associate Estimating Professional Program. It's relatively new. It's an industry designation that's recognized in our profession. And then finally, there's the Estimating Certification, the CPE program, which is our topic for today. There's a brief history. I won't go through each of these date points, but it all started in 1956, the year ASPE organizes and charters. I've been told the founders are motivated in great part by their desire to develop a certification program. They wanted estimators to have the ability to demonstrate proficiency and competence within the industry. It appears it did take some time to get things moving, though, until the 1970s. And it took from the 80s to early 90s to really solidify the structure of the program. As we entered the 21st century, having looked at it, I believe the certification program fully achieved the vision that the founders had, the vision they set forth. 2008 brought us accreditation from the CESB, the Council of Engineering and Specialty Boards. And in 2014, our CPE program was recognized by the American Council for Construction Education as having met their rigorous quality and content standards. So at this point, why would you want to become a certified professional estimator? I'm inclined to think that perhaps each CPE has their own personal list of motivations for becoming certified. Having asked around and other society members and other CPEs, here are a few reasons that they tend to share in common, though. You gain professional credentials. Another slightly candid story. A few years ago, I was faced with the decision to remain in the estimating field, or perhaps move on to a different profession. The CPE program offered me the chance to increase my standing in the estimating community. It really convinced me that this is what I wanted to do. I honestly believe that without the certification program, I probably wouldn't be estimating today. Another reason to become a CPE, your estimating knowledge and skill will increase. It's impossible, it really is, to go through the CPE program and not become a better, more well-rounded estimator. But I guess I should probably back up. I'll leave it to those that employ me and those that know me if I've become a better estimator. But I can tell you this, my peripheral vision as far as estimating goes has broadened. I'm much more aware of the industry, the different styles of estimating, and I can be honest, I really do think that my individual estimates, the quotes that I produce, are better than they used to be before becoming certified. It enhances your value to your employer and to the construction industry as a whole. It also offers you unmatched confidence. It did in my case, and I think every single CP that I've talked to, it said the same thing. You gain a confidence that is just there is no other way to gain it other than certification. And it gives confidence to those that you serve, those that you estimate for. Certification tends to improve opportunities for advancement. And certification increases the possibility of greater earnings over the course of your career. I don't think anyone's going to promise you health, wealth, and prosperity by becoming a CPE, but it certainly opens the door, and it certainly shows that you take your profession seriously. There are 3 basic prerequisites for certification candidates. You must have 5 years of estimating experience. you need to possess some technical writing abilities, and your communication skills should be good. There's not much we can do about the first requirement. If you don't have the 5 years of experience, if you're currently estimating, all you can do is wait. But if you're concerned about the writing or the communication skills requirement, we should be able to help. I think in most cases, if anyone has a concern about with a little bit of help and a little bit of encouragement, we can gain confidence for you in these areas. If the prerequisites are met, then you can move on to the actual steps of becoming certified. And the first thing is you should absolutely review the CPE handbook that's available on the ASPE National website. It goes into much greater detail than we're able to in this brief presentation. It's not a long read. It's well worth the time. Read it several times. Make sure you absorb what's there. And I think really it's the document, it's the publication you should be very familiar with before you finalize your decision to pursue certification. The next step, you submit your application and fees online on the ASPE National website. Now there is cost involved, there is a fee, but it's common for employers to at least partially participate in the fees associated with certification. Some employers are willing to fully fund the candidate's certification process. And I think in every case, no employer is going to fault you for asking, would you help me? Would you help monetarily with me becoming a better estimator? After your application is reviewed and accepted, you would write your technical paper on an estimating topic. It must be pre-approved though by the certification committee. And there are several pre-approved topics. There is the possibility of choosing your own topic, but the certification committee would need to grant their approval. I can say, here's another personal note. Make sure you follow the guidelines and the requirements for writing the technical paper very carefully. The reason why the structure requirements are so rigid is that we want these technical papers to have a consistent format so that as you can go to the ASPE National website and download them and review them, it's very easy to absorb the information in them. I tried this. I went and I downloaded 2 or 3 of these technical papers, and they were not even on the same, they weren't even in the same trade, in the same field. But I found I could retain the information quite well because of the common structure. My first technical paper attempt was this completely creative thing, this Dan Kilcoyne creation, and I was convinced it was going to wow the certification committee, and it came back rejected, primarily because it was a completely free-form document that I rewrote it, followed the guidelines, and the paper was accepted. And after your paper is accepted, you enter the exam phase of certification. A proctor will be selected to help guide you through study materials and exam preparations. And even now, in this time, there's definitely the ability to do that online. There's a couple of exams. The GEK, the General Estimating Knowledge Exam, requires the better part of a day to complete. And there's the DST exam. Really, it's a 2-part exam, 2 exams in one. Another day to complete this as well on a different day. The discipline-specific tests they're intended to focus on your particular area of estimating, your field, your expertise, what you would be familiar with. And if you complete all of the above, you will become a certified professional estimator. So you think, great, I'm done. For the rest of my life, I'm a CPE. Well, there is a requirement to maintain your certification. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait a second. I've gone to all this effort to become certified, and now I find out that I have to do something year after year. The Society's purpose in requiring that you maintain your certification is not to make it difficult to keep. It's rather, it's a recognition that the construction industry is ever changing. And we believe strongly the professional estimator must remain dynamically engaged in our industry to best serve those that depend on accurate quotes, knowledge, skill, timely quotes, quotes that fit the current trends. And so each year, along with your renewal application fee, you'll need to accrue 24 professional development units, PDUs, in ASPE recognized industry activities. And on your screen, you can see a very condensed list here. The list is quite long, which is good. Many activities are available. It really is hard to accomplish as it might seem. Many of the activities that an estimator already engages in count as a point, and really as long as you spend a little bit of diligence on it, it's not hard to do at all. And if you find you're running short on PDUs as you get to the middle of the year or perhaps the last part of the year, definitely we can help. We can help with guidance to show you what opportunities are available, and we will definitely do all we can to make sure that you get the PDU points that you need to maintain your CPU status. And really, that's about it. It's not a complicated process. It's pretty straightforward. I'd like to close my time. We're going to move on to the rest of it, though. But with my time, there's two thoughts that I've kind of been thinking about with all of this. There's been a concern that I've shared that perhaps with all of the current events going on, that there won't be that many people that want to move forward into the CPU program until some future time. I've asked them, do you think that's going to be the case? Do you think that people are going to wait? And the consensus seemed to be this, that in times like this, they actually lend themselves to efforts for career advancement. For those that you weren't necessarily familiar with working on a computer from home, now a lot of us are, and you can pursue the certification program perhaps easier than you could before. The other thought that I heard more than once was this: we need these new candidates. The professional estimate community, we need their strength. We need the potential and the innovation that they can bring, and only they can bring. If you're just stuck with the same people, you're going to only have the same results. And we really do need to bring in these new upcoming estimators. They can be of any age. They can, at any time, any age, people have these new ideas that we'd like to incorporate into what we do. We're ready to help, and so we look forward to being of service and to helping you get into the process in any way we can. Thank you for your time for my portion. But with that, I'd like to give you some contact info. There's our website, the local San Diego chapter, and that's my email. Feel free to contact me at any time. There's my contact number. I actually live in a rural portion of San Diego, and so it's more common than not that I'll look at my phone and I'll see that I have a missed call. So absolutely, if you would like to contact me, please do so. But leave a message if for some reason I don't answer. And
there's one question from one of the attendees. I don't know if you want to address it, or David.
Sure.
They said, how does the proxy testing work with COVID-19?
Well, from what I'm hearing is that we have the ability to do that now online, and Cinder McDonald, who's with the certification committee, can definitely serve in that role. She's already done it. In fact, we heard just today that there's been several people that have gone through the process now with her essentially being their proctor online. Are there any other questions?
Yeah, I'm gonna chime in. Sam, I think he has a question. Hold on. Go ahead, Sam. Can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me all right?
Yes, go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, I've been estimating my own jobs. I'm a general contractor here in San Diego since 2012. So I don't know, is that a good 5-year experience to get that certification, or do you guys need something else?
No, it sounds absolutely like you have more than the 5 years, and if you're serving as an estimator in forecasting costs and developing what really any construction endeavor will end up costing, I think that qualifies.
How can I present my 5 years experience with you guys? Just in a piece of paper, or do I need to show you guys any proof? Or, I mean, I don't know. How does that work?
I think Cinder would be the best one to answer that. But I'm very confident that the requirement to document the 5 years would not be hard to do.
All right. Thank you much.
Thank you. I think Cinder is logging. Hopefully, she's logging on. She has any input.
Yeah, then also in the application, when you're applying for the certification, I believe, it's some a reference section, to check, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
The 5 years experience, on the job experience for estimating, is important because that's the measure that we found that is successful for a person, an estimator, to take the certification program. The level of knowledge, the vocabulary, the information that you need to know to pass all of the rigorous training we have is usually at about 5 years experience. So as long as you have 5 years on the job experience as an estimator, you're right, it's hard to quantify that if you're working for yourself, but just in the application process, it asks for information and you can fill that in. If I have questions or concerns, for instance, when I receive the application, if I have a question or concern, Sam or anyone, I would reach out to you and email or call you up and just verify the information with you. Does that help?
Yeah, I believe so. He provided a thank you. Thanks, Cinder.
You bet.
Okay, now we can jump to David. We have David the man with us.
Okay, thanks, Lorena. Thanks for having me. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Paul, allowing you to be part of the panel today. One thing I'm just going to say a few brief words because I know that there are a lot of questions that we want to discuss in our panel. But one thing that certification does, at least what's done for me, it gives you credibility to what you do. And the reason I say that is because there's really not a degree in estimating. Hopefully some college someday will have a degree in estimating, but I haven't seen one yet. But until that time, I know I got my degree in construction management, and there was not that much training in estimating. I had 2 courses in it, and I really learned more on the job experience when I became an estimator with a company. I know several companies have different ways of doing it, but that's what ASPE is trying to standardize the industry so that people can work for different companies, because sometimes work runs short in one company and they may lay you off and you may have to go work for another company. And that way you can take off and do your work in a standard way. But another thing is that the certification allows you Well, what it does, it enables you as a person, and if you are in search of another job, it shows how that you've gone the extra mile. And that's one thing I want to discuss a little bit that Dan, he did a great job going through the CPE part, but we have relatively a new program. It's called the AEP, which is the Associate Estimating Professional. And particularly where I think it really can assist our industry, we can get a lot of younger people involved in ASPE early on, particularly if they want to be in college, or if they're in college and they want to have a certification that they can put on their resume, then they can utilize the AEP program. And the nice thing about the AEP program is you don't have to have the 5 years experience. You don't have to do the 2,500 word technical paper. All you have to do is do the general knowledge portion of the test, which is about a 4-hour test. And the other 8-hour test, the specific industry specific item, you can take that test later, and the 4-hour test applies to your certification. Now, one thing I wanted to mention, if you are interested in getting an AEP program, Cinder can help you out with that. It's Cinder at, let's see, Cinder at ASPE national.com or .org, I'm sorry. But one thing that would help is you can utilize the handbook, and you can get that offline. And then another book that really helps is the Standard Estimating Practice. Now, it's a rather thick book, but really the first about 120 pages of it is pertinent information that you can utilize on that test. We had one of the AEP candidates take a test in the office here, and they did not pass it the first time. And I asked him, I said, what did you study with? And she said, well, I used the handbook. Well, she came back and took the test, and I handed her this set manual. I said, read the first part of that. She did, and she said that was very useful, that portion of it. So I would strongly recommend that to everybody. But I am the national chairman for the certification. I've been involved with the committee for over 3 years now. Work with Cinder. Cinder is the coordinator for ASPE, and she can give you any information if you're interested in signing up, and we would be glad to. You can call me and I'll answer any questions that you have. And particularly if once you become a CPE or AEP and you need to get your units updated, I can show you several ways that you can easily get your units updated, especially at the end of the year when people start getting nervous about getting their 24 units. So, Cinder, did you want to say anything? In fact, Cinder, if you could explain a little bit about our new way of testing, where you don't have to necessarily go to an office where there's a proctor. You can actually take the test on Zoom from your home, your office, wherever you're comfortable. And this is a new thing, and it's worked out very well for us. And I think where it's going to really help is a lot of the remote ASPE members that are maybe not necessarily involved in a chapter because they're far away from a chapter, but this allows them to get their certification. So Cinder, I'll give it over to you. You can say a few words.
Absolutely, thank you, David. The COVID situation has brought safety to the forefront of all of our minds. And we really want to make sure everyone is being safe and practicing proper distancing and not necessarily being in someone else's office. So we did go and make some new procedures for the electronic proctorship. So it's basically like we're doing today, is that I will set up a Zoom meeting for the candidate and the proctor, and the candidate will go on and take the testing, and the proctor is just watching to make sure there's no hesitations or computer issues or problems that are seen. And they're available if there's something really crazy going on that's needed. But we do require proctorship for all the testing, GEK or DST, all the testing is proctored. So we do electronic proctor now, and that's much, much easier. Seems to work out very well.
I have a question from one of the attendees. They want to know what kind of software you're using at the moment to estimate.
Who's that question to?
It's just, to anyone that can answer is fine. Dan, David, whoever, can answer the attendees' question is fine.
I can speak.
Answer.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Dan. Dan, go ahead.
All right, I can speak to what my department does. We are primarily paperless. We interact with plans online and on the screen. And at the moment, we're using Bluebeam exclusively. And also, we really like Excel. I know that there's been a trend to try to move away from that as time goes on. But we really do like Bluebeam and Excel. And also, too, for some years now, we've been using a program called Trimble SketchUp. And that's been good for kind of fleshing out some ideas and even sometimes stacking components and performing a quantity takeoff.
Dan, I want to just add a little bit from the general contractor perspective. I know we have different estimators for specific trades. I work for a general contractor, so I perform all the trades. And for general contractor world, we use different software for quantities. The easy one is probably Bluebeam. The another choice will be OST or on screen. And also, I believe we have the ProEst for quantities takeoffs, and for estimating. Right now in my company we use Beck, or it's other software like a Timberline, and basically Excel if you're not able to buy that kind of software. So for small companies, the best way will be Bluebeam for takeoffs, and probably Excel sheet if you're not running a big project. You want to be able to utilize that kind of basic softwares.
As a cost consultant, we utilize, since we work mainly with architects, we utilize Excel and PlanSwift because it allows us to tailor our estimates towards our customers, especially with the Excel. And that gives us a lot more flexibility since we have a vast amount of clients that we work with, that we want to be able to provide them usable information that way. So it's tailored towards what fits their programs.
I'm going to chime in. Jeffrey Griffith, he has a question, so I'm going to ask him to unmute.
Okay.
Can you hear us? There you go.
Am I up? Do we have audio?
Yes, we do.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I miss all the friends in ASPE Chapter 4. Spent 30 plus years in San Diego, but my job took me away. So hello to any of the 43 or so attendees that I might know. And thank you. I just want to thank all my predecessors with the CPE and those who encouraged me to get it, as well as the people present who are instrumental in providing opportunity and means to acquire cherished certification. It is a challenge, but it's a worthy challenge. And I spent the last 10 years doing government work for DHS and FEMA, and I've also done some reviews of OIG work product and from the Office of Chief Counsel as well, all of which relate to grant management. And I can assure anyone who is considering getting into government work that the CPE certification features prominently in job descriptions and requirements for expertise in estimating. There's a Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000 that empowered Congress to impanel an expert panel for review of best practices for estimating in the FEMA world, and featured prominently was the ASPE standards as well as strong ASPE representation. So it is a worthy certification. I'm very glad I got it. I never looked back, and it served me well. I have distinction and I have opportunity, and everything good you can imagine is there. So thank you very much. If we heard it.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. That's it pretty much.
Thank you so much, Jeffrey.
Okay.
I don't have any further questions. I know Sam had, he would like to know if you guys do any type of education, and he said for our hourly jobs. I don't know if that's something that is part of our scope of the CPE. No.
I saw where Greg Williamson wanted to make a comment, came across the screen there a while ago, in Boston. I don't know if you could put him on.
Sorry about that, Dave.
All right. Look like we don't have more questions.
No, we don't have any more questions for now.
Hourly jobs. Yeah, I don't know if they can extend or expand a little bit more, you know, about the hourly jobs in estimating. Do you guys provide education? I don't know. We have educations online. You know, we have classes online if they want to, you know, at least, you know, learn the basics of estimating. You know, sometimes, you know, you have the desire to be an estimator. You know, and like David said, you know, it's not a profession that help you out, you know, or teach you right away. But again, we have some online classes to learn at least the basic of the estimating. And after that, you know, they can apply for a junior estimator if they aren't looking for an opportunity for estimating. You know, that's the first path that they need to start with, the junior estimator. And after we have estimator 1, estimator 2, lead estimator, senior estimator, you know, chief estimator, pre-construction manager, director of pre-construction.
I think that's all the questions. So we really want to thank David for your testimonial, and Dan, thank you so much for the PowerPoint. Cinder, thank you for last minute jumping on the call. Paul, thank you so much. Part of the ASPE would like to thank everybody. You can go ahead and follow us on LinkedIn for any future webinars. You can also visit our website at aspesd4.org. So anything, I also put in the chat the email in case you have any additional questions that we might have missed, or you're having any thoughts on, go ahead and send it to us. So, but we want to thank everybody for your time. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much.